welcome to the WTF, Where's the Focus podcast. I'm going to bring you a weekly short message on where you put your focus as it relates to sales and building successful business relationships. Knowing where your focus goes, your energy flows. I'm Dan Manginelli, the author of the books Wake Up, Jumpstart the Life You've Always Had in Mind, and Shake It Up, Big Dreams and Bold Choices on the Road to Success. I'm a national speaker on staying motivated and inspired with the right mindset and coach top salespeople around the nation. So let's get going with WTF. Look at that. Welcome to the WTF podcast. Where's the focus? Oh my gosh, Jen, and the kids are cheering for me too. Look, what an exciting day for the WTF gang. You're going to want to listen. This guest is a real treat of a human. Got boss lady Jen on the board. Ta-da. Big E making this sound like I know what I'm doing. Here's your chance. This is your chance to hit subscribe button before it's too late. Way before, I don't know what it would be too late for. I'm just trying to get people to make sure they hit subscribe, like, and share because you're going to want to after today's guest. Let me tell you that. It's the last week of September, Jen. Look at that. What do you think? I'm
excited.
You excited about the last week in September? What's the deal with pumpkin spice? Any idea?
I love pumpkin spice. I've been drinking it since August because that's when they released
it.
Did
they release it in August?
They did.
It's ridiculous right now. I was in Trader Joe's, and everything from milk to cheese, I'm going to say this, hummus has pumpkin spice in it now. I think it's overrated, I think, on the pumpkin spice.
I think that sounds fabulous. I'm going to go to Trader Joe's.
Wasn't it just a few years ago that it was just coffee? It was like pumpkin spice back is in coffee, and now it's in hummus. I'm going to have some pumpkin spice chicken for dinner tonight. What do you think of that?
Sounds great.
You got issues. Listen, enough about me and pumpkin spice issue. The special WTF guest. This is awesome. Due to the fact that I couldn't be a bigger fan or envious of a man with his ability in a sport that I love. Grab your pumpkin spice latte, adjust your earbuds, because today we have a big one on the Where's the Focus podcast. We have professional tour golfer Cameron Tringale. Look at that, Cam. You even get applause.
Cool clapping. Thanks for the applause.
Look at that. Just a quick one. He's a three-time NCAA All-American at Georgia Tech. He was a member of the PGA Tour from 2010 until 2022. Qualified for the U.S. Open 2009. Represented the U.S. as a member of the Palmer Cup and Walker Cup teams. In August of this year, he announced he joined the LIV Tour. I can go on and on and on and on about his tour accomplishments, but I'm too excited to talk to him. So we're going to keep going. Anybody out there can Google the rest. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there on all his stuff. So again, ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Tringale.
Hello.
I did the golf clap for that one, Cameron. So
Perfect.
I got that one. Hey, so I want to get going. When did you get into golf? Like, did you start at a really young age?
I didn't. The first time I ever swung a club, I was 10. So later than a lot of people, definitely later than Tiger Woods, but not as late as some who have gone on to play professionally.
Right.
I played pretty much all the other sports out there. Being a SoCal kid,
Sure.
The weather was perfect, and I loved being outside, and so pretty much touched them all. And then golf sort of found me when I was in junior high, and I pretty much loved it.
You when you say it found you, because obviously there was a time that you realized, hey, you know what, I'm pretty good at this. So did it find you, as you said, or is there a time that you realized that, hey, I really enjoy this?
Well, my dad introduced me to the game. I was big into skateboarding and surfing and going to being a beach bum. And I think he was trying to protect me from a life that sort of becoming my entirety of my life. So he said, hey, why don't we try golf?
Right.
Might straighten the kid out a little bit. And
you're a skateboarder and a surfer.
Yeah. It straightened me up pretty good, maybe too much, in fact. But my brother and I sort of got playing around the same time, and it was purely just my dad saying, "Hey, why don't we go to the driving range and whack a few balls?" And
was it natural for you at that time when you were just whacking a few balls? Did you realize it, or did it take more time?
No, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I loved Happy Gilmore.
Uh-huh.
So we would just kind of clown around and,
right.
try and hit the
Kind of
ball.
like
We
my
didn't.
golf game. Is that what you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
yeah, maybe a little better than your game, but um, yeah. Once we sort of, I say we, because my brother and I did
Yeah.
everything together, but once we thought, this is pretty fun, we decided, well, if we're gonna play, we might as well play to the best of our ability. So we got lessons at a pretty early on in our
Yeah.
development, and that definitely helped just get us on the right path. I mean, golf is such a difficult game, and
Right.
anyone who's played it knows that. So like, was it natural for me? Not really. I mean, I took to it pretty quickly, but it's not like I picked up the club and was just flushing it right
Yeah.
away. I mean, it took a lot of practice and lessons and working at it to get to a place where I
Was it
felt like I
because you
had
were was it
control.
was it because you were doing with your brother that made it fun? Because I can see it a grind at a young age. I must see you had to practice pretty decently.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really go full into golf until about seventh or eighth grade.
Okay.
So there were a couple of years where we just would go, I would say we played once every couple months, and we just would play, and then we'd leave it alone. And but once we kind of thought, yeah, this is what we want to do, then we started to sort of practice more and go hit more balls. And
Right.
I would say it was fun because we were always competing with each other.
Right.
He's a couple of years older than me, so he was physically more advanced, where I maybe had a bit more of a natural gifting,
Okay.
just coordination and things. So we were pretty even for most of our time growing up, and I think just having someone to play with, your best friend, is
Sure.
always makes whatever you're doing more
Whatever you're
fun.
doing, way more fun. Now you went obviously you played in high school, and then were you recruited to go to Georgia Tech, or was there a reason why you went to Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I mean, yes and yes. I was recruited. I wanted to go to the best golf school and the best academic institution I could go to, and Georgia Tech is a household school
Sure.
for golf talent, and very good uh, education as well. And so I also felt, Dan, as I was getting older, I sort of started to understand that Southern California is like an amazing place, but I'd spent my whole life here,
Right.
and I thought that if I could get out of my bubble, it would help me to grow up a little bit more. And I would say it sort of had that effect. As I look back, I could have gone to school locally here. um, and I thought, I need to kind of challenge myself to go outside of what's comfortable and what I know.
What
And I learned a lot when I was away. And now, what, 20 years, nearly 20 years after going to college, I'm back, and thankfully, so Southern California is still here.
Yeah, what a great analogy though to get outside your bubble to actually push yourself at a young age. That's kudos to you for even thinking that. What was the biggest change you think from playing at a team golf sport, which you did in high school and college, to then going on the tour playing professional? Was there a big change or a big challenge?
I would say the biggest difference, Dan, it was just around the game. Like between the first tee and the 18th green, golf's an individual sport. And so even though you're on a team, like when you're actually playing the game, you're on your own. It was more the camaraderie of having the guys to talk about you around with after the day, to go to dinner with. In college, we were traveling to events, staying in hotels with our teammates.
Right.
So we really had a community that is a lot different than professional golf. At an individual level, was very much just, "Hey, I'm gonna go play." Sure, you have some buddies here and there, but like at least I was mostly focused on getting what I needed to do done. And so it became more of a duty than a delight,
Right.
just as far as it becoming my profession. Um, so the big difference, to answer your question, was just outside the ropes, between rounds. having guys to chum it up with and hang out with. That's the biggest difference. But to play on a team in golf is really you can only do your job and play the best golf you can. So that's sort of what I was focused on in both arenas.
Does the community change a little bit at the highest level where, as you said, it was a team? And because there's not a massive amount of tour player golfers. It's very, very, very difficult to do. Is there still somewhat of a camaraderie on tour?
Yeah, there definitely is. A lot of I would say, especially for me, when I came out, my first couple of years, I was one of the younger guys, and there weren't a whole lot of my peers there as well. But as more guys, say from that I competed against in college, started to find their games and move up the ranks and get out to the PGA Tour, there were more of the guys that I grew up playing with, and so there was always, hey, I've known Tom since junior golf, and now we used to play in these AJGAs together. Now we're playing PGA Tour events. That's cool. And of course, I tended to be friendly and be close with the guys kind of that I've known the longest, or spent the most time with, say against in college or even back to the junior days. Some of my nemesis from the Southern California junior PGA days, we're going at it, even today. So
that's great.
So it's a good lesson, just to always live above board with people, because you never know when you're gonna see them, and you'd hate to have been a jerk to a guy.
Right? It's a great part of life,
golf.
Just to do the right thing when you're supposed to do it. I mean, that's right.
Yeah.
Going into golf, because I mean, again, love the game, and obviously not at your level, far from it. I did win a member. Does that count for anything? No. Okay.
Sure.
So, okay. Yeah, well, it counts for sure it does. Yeah. It applies for me to a lot of business and a lot of things I do in life, and because there's so many ups and downs, and there's so many good shots, and there's so many bad shots, and I even did a podcast, to Play It Where It Lies, is just like your life. I mean, some days are, you feel like this is the day I feel great about it, and then there's days where I just don't feel it, or this isn't going to happen, or it's just not my day. How do you overcome the days like that, where, you come to the course, or it's another day you have to grind on the range? How do you overcome that feeling of this, I'm just not even feeling it, or it's just not my day?
Well, I think you have to kind of go back one level, and you have to sort of understand, all right, why am I out here? What's my goal? What's my purpose in doing this? And if you don't have a good reason for why you're doing what you're doing, then on the days where you struggle, it's going to be really easy to get frustrated and sort of want to throw in the towel and just buzz off.
Yeah.
And so I think really being clear about what it is and what you're trying to accomplish. And so for me, when I think about, hey, the days that I'm struggling, or the weeks that my game just isn't there, there's two things. I go back to all right, why am I playing? What do I want out of this experience? And then B, if I don't have a plan for my goals and what I'm trying to achieve, then I'm really just getting lucky when I play well. So I like to have a plan for, all right, here's what I'm going to do. Here are the things that I can count on. Here are the things that I'm in control of, right? I can't control everything, but I can control myself. I can control my attitude. I can control the things that I focus on. So I really have to create sort of a win sheet. Like, all right, here's what I can do. And if I'm doing those things and it's just one of those days, it's one of those days.
Yeah.
But I can go back and say, hey, I'm doing what I can do. And that gets me, those are the challenging days. But when you have a foundation that you believe in, and you say, hey, it's not my day today, the putts just weren't going in, but guess what? I still had a good attitude. I still had great visualization. I still, go through my list of the things that are keys to my success. If I can do those on a daily basis, and the results don't come, that's okay. I know I'm just one day closer to reaping the fruit of that discipline
Yeah.
down the road. So
What a great, great, great analogy for life, buddy. If anybody just, we can just stop there because you got to focus on the action, not the outcome. Because the action that it takes, the outcome will come. It's just people you just said is what a great analogy of having a plan and the why from there, man. That is some good stuff. Do you, when you win or have a great round, or the things like in other sports, you watch films or you look at stuff? If you're leading going into day three, whatever it might be, do you go back and take those either good things and build off of them, or are you just coming back tomorrow to do your job and have the plan of action that you know that your plan is going to work?
well, I think if you can find a way to use the things from the past to give you more confidence and help you to believe more in what you're doing, then you should definitely utilize do those things.
Mhm.
Visualization is a big part of golf. I mean, every shot I hit, I have a picture of it in my head of what I want the ball to do.
Yeah.
And so if I can take inventory after the day and say, hey, what were my three best shots today? And I can say, all right, yeah, that 6 iron I hit on the third hole, the putt I made on the ninth hole, and the drive on the 18th hole, right? Like if I have three shots, I can replay those in my head and say, wow, that was exactly the drive that I want to hit tomorrow. Okay, like what did that feel like? What were my senses? Was I, what did I make my body do? Okay, I'm gonna feel that, I'm gonna visualize that, and I'm gonna know that I can do it again when it matters tomorrow.
Right.
And so I'm just building inventory of the good things in my day, and hopefully that will reinforce what I'm doing for the
Yeah.
future. But that's that's not a guarantee. Like to the
Sure.
last point, I can do all those things and still hit bad shots.
Yeah.
So it's more just um trying to kind of tilt the chips in your favor in a
Yeah.
sense, because no one else is going to do it for you. So if I'm not applauding myself, if I'm not reinforcing the good things that I'm doing, um no one else is going to do it. So I've got to be my own sort of cheerleader, best friend out
Right.
there. And,
Speaking of that, you
golf is
hear,
such a
yeah,
mental game.
it is. And I'm going, that's exactly what I was getting at. You hear all these announcers and you hear your Saturday, amateurs in golf saying, yeah, everybody's, as good as each other. It's just the mental part. And I tend to believe that, your dedication and your ability have much to do with the game and in life. I mean, the actions you do create the timing. I mean, being at the right place in the right time. How much do you feel is the ability compared to the mental aspect in the dedication part of it? I mean, I know they're all, integral parts, but I don't know if I believe it's so mental that people's abilities are because they created the timing and so by taking actions to get to that level. So I'm just kind of questioning you. How much do you feel is the mental portion of it?
Yeah. Well, and I would say for them at the highest level of golf, uh, say the PGA Tour, LIV, the best players in the world, you know, pretty much everyone, I'm going to say if there's five guys who can kind of do some stuff that other people can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say 95% of the people can have the same skills, the same potential skills,
Right,
right?
right,
So everyone can hit a 300-yard drive, everyone can hit a lob shot, everyone can hit a bunker shot, everyone can hit a 3 iron, right?
right.
But the difference is, well, how come Rory McIlroy and Cam Smith seem to do that play their best almost every week? Well, you'd have to say it's mental.
Right, right.
Because physically we can all do it, but they're able to do it consistently, and so that's really what sets them apart. Now, everyone playing professional golf is good mentally at that level,
Sure. Yeah.
but still, even within the top 100 guys in the world, there's a big difference between the 10th guy and the 100th guy.
Yeah.
And while they can all hit the shots, it's the mind that I think enables them to do that on a basis that they can repeat consistently and when it matters, and they don't lose focus, right? Like
Right.
that's one thing that I've really been working on is, okay, and I've been doing this a long time now, playing competitive golf for 20 plus years. How come this week it worked and last week it didn't? Like everyone who plays golf, even on a, hey, last hole I made a birdie, this next hole I made a triple. How does this happen?
Yeah.
So I think the answer for me is, well, it's about focus, right? Like if I treated every shot like it was to win the Masters, whether it's the first shot on a Thursday or Friday morning,
Mm-hmm.
or the last drive on Sunday, there's a different level of focus that I'm trying to tap into on a more regular basis. And so for me, I think, yeah, physically I'm capable of hitting the shot, but can I really get there and treat it so as such a special event when it seems ordinary?
Right.
And I think the guys at the top of the game are able to do that. Tiger is always been so good at that. He's the most intensely focused guy. When it's his turn to hit, it's like nothing else matters in the world.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get there. I think that's a big differentiator. And again, it's a small difference, right?
Yeah, it's
So
at that level. You talked about focus a little bit, which kind of goes into that. Because is it hard? I mean, inevitably, there's sometimes that you realize where you are in the round or where you are on the leaderboard and that you're going to miss the cut. Or, how do you stay focused? And this is just kind of in life where I'm talking to everybody that's here is there's times when we all like, I'm at this point and I'm not going to get there. And how do you keep the focus if like just I'm not going to make the cut and still continue to play your best as you can, knowing that this isn't your week?
yeah, great question. I think it goes back to having your plan, right? If you know that not every week's going to go your way, some weeks are going to be difficult and challenging, but there's still something to be learned, and there's still something that can be applied, even though, hey, you're going to miss the cut, but you have 3 holes left. Like maybe you find a feel on a drive in the last 3 holes, or maybe something clicks with the putter. And so like there's never a point where you just like cannot try. Like
Right.
that's just,
Yeah. I mean,
so I
you got
think,
to do it. I believe that's kind of the key. I have like a couple things in one of my books was, some of the keys to success was, communication, consistency, desire, and keeping the desire. And I think most people on those other ones, I mean, you have to be a good communicator and you have to be consistent in what we just talked about, especially in golf. And you have a desire to want to be more, have more, do more. But keeping the desire is where the big separator is for me. And I think this why I was asking this question is it's a rare time where people have to keep the desire. And like you just said, if I can just feel it on this shot, or I'm going to hit a drive here, even though knowing what's going to be inevitably what's going to happen, there's that rare person, and you're at that level where you're going to keep the desire going no matter where you are on the leaderboard, because it's what you do and your why of where you do it. And that's a big thing that people could take away without a doubt.
sure, sure. I think it just goes to like you have your plan, and like you got to just keep going through your process and not be result focused, because the results will come and go. But say, hey, I don't care about results. If I'm going to miss the cut or I'm going to finish in the top 10, like I'm just going to keep doing what I set out to do on the first tee, which is be focused, try my best in every shot, make free swings,
Yeah.
whatever my goals are for that day, my micro goals, I still want to achieve those. And like if I miss the cut and I know I'm going to miss the cut, like that doesn't change my process. So really being committed to what you're doing, I think, is a big part of being able to stick it out through those tough days, and
Yeah.
where you're not getting the outcomes you want.
I know golf's kind of a game for most of us. It's 100% your career and you're phenomenal at it. Um, has being at your career taken any fun out of the game at all?
I think truthfully, yes. Um,
No.
when it
I get it.
when
I don't know if I
like
have fun on Friday afternoons, to be honest with you, or Saturday
I,
morning. So
like
I,
if someone said, hey, you get to go, you know, go have a fun day, like I'm not going to go to the golf course. Like I I love competing in golf. I love
yeah,
I love the game. but there's a change. It's a small change, subtle change, but when it becomes your focus and your livelihood,
Right.
there's just a level of like, hey, I still love it. It's fun. I'm curious about the game. I think that's a big part of keeping it fun, is like always having a curious mind and trying to like improve and get better. And that, I think, will has sustained my desire to continue to play,
Right.
especially through some down times.
Right.
However, the answer is, yeah, it's not as fun. Like, golf for me is not as fun as it is for most of the guys at the club. Like,
Right.
when they're
Right.
there, they're letting off steam. They're, yeah, they're gonna hit some bad shots and get frustrated, but like when they hit a couple good shots and win a $5 bet, like, it's worth it to them. And like
Right.
that's fun. I don't
Right.
necessarily get that kind of satisfaction on a day-to-day basis. Where I really find golf to be more fun than ever is when I'm competing.
Right.
And so
Right. It's the
so the
competition and that feeling of the competition, to push yourself to get outside your comfort zone, to push yourself to be better, to push. That's a great analogy, without a
yeah,
doubt.
the sort of day to day of golf is definitely less fun for me
Mhm.
than for most guys. But when I get a chance to really see what I've got and test myself,
Right.
it's 10x the fun I think that
Right.
other
Right.
guys get. And that might only be, honestly, that might be 2 or 3 times a year,
Right.
like where I'm really in the thick of it. I'm feeling the nerves. I'm
Mhm.
excited. I can't wait to see if I've got what it takes. Like, those to me are those couple days a year are worth the rest of the year in training and getting ready, and all the perseverance that it takes to get to that point.
Right. I know for me, like the chances I took in certain business and the risks and on my family, and you have questions sometimes is, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this? I find, again, as you said, just got a text probably this morning too early I'm not wired right, but, for, reading, writing and praying always seems to, take the fear away. Was there ever a time that you kind of questioned, either in Q school or something, this is really what I want to do for a career?
Um, not early on for me, Dan. I
Mm-hmm.
was fortunate. The timing of my golf came where I sort of succeeded early at the professional level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I didn't struggle on the lower tours. Like, I was fortunate to go straight to the PGA Tour out of college. And so
Great.
my sort of battle with, is this what I want to do, came probably 8 7 8 years in, when I had a few down years, and I was back at the Corn Ferry Finals
Mm-hmm.
a couple years in a row, and I just really wasn't enjoying the game.
Right.
Probably because I didn't have success at it, right? We love the things we're good
Yeah.
at, and
Right.
when it's
Right.
going well, we think, oh, we'll do this forever. And when you're struggling consistently, it put a little doubt in my mind, just as if it was what I wanted to continue to do. Uh, However, for me, I sort of, yeah, I asked the Lord. I said, hey, if this is what you want me to keep doing,
Right.
I'm willing to keep playing, even though I'd rather probably do something else at this point. That was my emotion, my feeling.
Right.
Um, and I played sort of just well enough to keep going. And so I said, all right, I'll finish the year. And my career sort of took off after that. Sort of had a resurgence at the end of 2018.
Yeah.
I also got married then, so
Mm-hmm.
that maybe had something to do with it as well.
Well, it's just to
But
answer prayer is what it was, for sure. There's no doubt about it.
yeah,
That's exactly what it was.
so yes, I've had the thoughts, is this really what I want to do? But it's been clear to me, at least to this point, that yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and so I'm gonna keep doing it until I hear otherwise.
Until someone tells you to do it. Well, you're doing pretty good at it. Um, this is one thing. Anyone at your highest level, you have amazing fans and then you have unamazing critics. And it kind of bums me out on that side. Being in the public eye, how do you shake off some of the negative comments and things, or, from a guy who's watching TV, who's not on the TV on Sunday, that is saying things? How do you shake those off, or do you even hear those things, or is it just outside noise?
Yeah. Well, I I've tried to shield myself a little bit more recently with some of the criticism, say that I know it has been coming. I've just chosen not to sort of pay attention to it,
Good.
and that's because I I feel so committed and convicted about what I am doing that, like, between myself, my wife, our close friends whom we sort of do life with and have
Right.
talked things through, like, we're so on board that why would I waste time thinking about what someone who doesn't know me
Love
and know
that.
my life think?
Love it.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not I don't live my life to be the approved by everyone. I live my life to honor the Lord
Yep.
and hopefully do good along the way. And so, yeah, you're always gonna. I mean, being in the public eye, I'm always gonna have critics. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's like,
Yeah. But
well,
in I think in life in general, and anything you're doing, you're going to have critics that are always trying to pull you down because, unfortunately, we live in a society that's jealous of other people that have things that we don't have, and it's not great. It's just kind of what it is, and it's great that you can shield that out and realize that, the support group. Talking about a support group of people, I think it's been crucial for me. My faith, obviously, the people that I love and care about that are crucial to help me stay focused and positive because there are days where, no matter what you're doing, you don't know if you're doing what you can, and you, like you said, you're praying about it and you're figuring it out. But do you have, who's your biggest support group? Have you said your wife and some friends, correct?
yeah, yeah, we've been lucky just to make a lot of really good friends along the last you know through golf, really. I mean, I've met some of my closest friends, a guy who did our wedding,
Okay.
a couple other guys who just have become close with our family. And that's it's always I think it's always wise to have other inputs because we're so easily moved by our feelings, and so I tend to try and get affirmation. Oh, I'm feeling this way, let me find people who will agree with me and just tell me that's the right thing. And it's like,
Right.
well, that that might feel good now, but that probably won't work out well in the long run. So I try and find people, sorry,
It's okay.
not who are gonna disagree with me necessarily, but I try and find people who are gonna
Just be
tell me,
honest with you. I think that
yeah,
that's
give
when
me
you're at
their
the level
honest,
you are. Yeah. The level you
exactly.
are,
That's
people are
it.
just going to say yes to try to be around you. And you're the people that are your support group are going to say, no, Cam, that's not, no, 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 no. We're not doing that. And that's not the right way to go. And you're making a bad decision. And it's great to have those people in your life. Look, I'm a firm also believer that change equals stress and uncertainty, but it's necessary for us to grow to any new levels. You just made kind of a pretty big career change. I believe it is. I can imagine
Yep.
there's some stress and uncertainty with that decision. Did was it stressful? Is there uncertainty, or I mean, you made the decision, so I'm sure you feel it's the right decision.
Yeah. Well, if you're referring to my sort of dissemination from the PGA Tour and defecting to the LIV,
Well, I didn't
uh,
I didn't say defecting, Cameron. I don't know.
that's what everyone else is saying, and
Yeah,
it's
I don't think it's
fair. It's
defecting,
fair
and I
enough.
just think it's a
Um,
part of growth. It's a part, as I said, change. Equals stress and uncertainty. But I firmly believe it's necessary for all of us. If it's in business, if it's in faith, or whatever it is, that part of it is get you to another level, and that's what I was referring to, as well.
yeah, well, so there was definitely uncertainty. There was definitely stress, and it was a pretty long process, honestly, of working through that. But what I really where I've sort of had peace is sort of once the decision was made, and I said, hey, this is the direction I'm going. The Lord's been good and just saying, hey, don't look back. Like,
Yeah,
go forward. Like, if this is where I'm leading you, like, then go for it and be fully committed. And so I've really not felt any pangs of doubt since making the jump. I've really enjoyed uh the events that I've played. I'm excited about the LIV continuing to grow and become more mainstream. I think they're really doing some positive things in golf and beyond golf. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it at an early stage and sort of have a front row seat in its development and growth. But yeah, I'm thrilled with my decision, and
Good. Thrilled
you
for you,
know,
buddy. I'm really
it's gonna
happy for you. I mean, it's great. I mean, I
at
think
35 with two small kids, yeah, my tournament load is going to be reduced
sure.
significantly. Um, and frankly, I was so fortunate to play the PGA Tour for 13 years, and yeah, I had an incredible experience. I've got no bones to pick at all. I
Right.
just felt like for where I am in my life and what my goals are, sort of with my family and outside of the game, LIV created just a lot more harmony and balance in my overall life.
Good.
And so it was pretty much yeah, I say it wasn't a no-brainer because I obviously spent a lot of time working through the decision, because the change is hard, right? Like
Right.
I don't know, I didn't know what it would be like to play an event. I don't know what
Right.
it will be like to miss the events that I love playing for so
Right.
many years.
Right.
I don't know, you know, where this is going to go, where I'm going to play. There's a lot of like, what courses, there's now, the unknowns are sort of shrinking as time goes on.
Yeah.
And, but there was definitely a gap between what I know for sure and where I'm going to land. And, thankfully the space in between has been all positive so
And
far.
as I said, stress equals, or change equals stress and uncertainty, but is necessary. And I think this, as a decision making, you said, but two small kids and a wife, those are important things. I mean, you're on the road a lot, obviously,
Yep.
during the years past, right? I mean, you're on
Yep.
the road. Does your family travel with you when you're on the road, or is that a part of a difficult thing as well?
They do sometimes. When we just had one, my wife traveled probably 75-80% of the time.
Right.
And now with two, it's probably down to 50% of the time. And it's I miss them when they're there, or sorry, when they're not there. I
Yeah.
really miss them, and I wish they were there. And when they're there, I sometimes think, gosh, it'd be a lot easier if they weren't here. Just the reality of two
Good on.
kids in a
No, trust me.
hotel or a house.
No, I,
It's sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
yeah,
But
without a doubt.
overall, God, I love my family so much. They're my top priority. And
Yeah.
so when they do get to travel, it's definitely more effort, more work. My wife, is out of her comfort zone. Like, she loves being home, having a schedule, a routine, and that's much more difficult on the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, now with basically I'm gonna be playing about half the events I used to play, so it'll give me more time to be a dad and
Great.
have more of a more rhythm to our life when I am not playing, and can
Does your oldest know what you do for a living yet, or is that stage where they can realize that you're
nah,
a professional
she's
golfer?
she's a little over, she's two and change, and she
Okay.
she knows daddy hits the ball at work. That's all she knows.
Good enough, man. All right, now I got the most important question, which is one of my last questions here. Do you remember the last time we played golf together? Maybe
Uh,
not, but it's okay if you don't.
Not exact. I mean,
Okay.
no.
So we're on 18, and you had about an 8-footer to win the lion's share of the coin that day, which is, a whole $5 or whatever it is, which means nothing to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Right. And you can come clean
That's
now.
not true. It's not about the amount, it's about winning.
Well, I
Like,
want to know, you
that's what
missed, it
drives
was
me.
like an 8-foot putt that you've never missed. I've watched you play enough, and you pushed it to the right, and you looked at us and realized you just didn't want to take our money that day. Am I correct?
I gotta be honest, I've never intentionally missed a putt.
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes me feel
I'm just a
all right.
human being. I
I've
miss
not
putts
slept for
sometimes.
months now. I just want to let you know, just thinking that you intentionally, but you are right. I'm sure 100% that you've never
I think
intentionally.
I think one of our one of our friends was in that group too, because he's accused me of the same thing, and I said, "Nah, I like you, but I don't like you that much. I'd gladly take $5 off you."
Oh man, Cameron, I can't thank you enough for being on the show today, man. You're not only a true professional, you're even a better human being, buddy. I really, 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 really appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you. When can everybody on here that's listening cheer you on? What's the next event you're playing? Do you know right now?
Yeah, I'm playing next week in Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, great.
So you'll have to check. I don't know when they're gonna air,
Okay.
when it's gonna air over here. But you can follow on Liv's website or YouTube. We'll be streaming the event.
I believe
So
YouTube streams the event, so definitely make sure you're watching him next week.
yep, the next 2 weeks actually.
Okay.
Bangkok, and then we're playing in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, the week after that.
Awesome.
So back to back.
Well, you're going to have a bunch of Where's the Focus fans cheering you on. There's no doubt.
Sweet. Sweet.
Anything else you could promote? I know that you're involved in some charities or anything else I can help promote for you in any way?
Gosh, not that I mean, off the top of my head, no. I mean, I would just encourage.
You can have people charity for my golf lessons. Maybe can you get me some of those?
Yeah, maybe start a fund. Start a fund for help Dan break 90.
Break 90. Man, is this how we're gonna roll now? Oh,
80? I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh, the time you played with me, it should have been 90. I guarantee. No, you're right. You're an awesome human being. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Cameron Tringale, you're the best.
You're so welcome.
Awesome. Send me your questions, your comments, and your feedback. Email me your stories at dan@manginelligroup.com. If you want to be a guest on the WTF. Until next week, have fun, everybody, and make some dreams come true.
Yeah.